Hi, I'm Cece and welcome to my channel. I post videos here once a week talking about various things that I care about or find interesting. If you are not subscribed and would like to subscribe, please go ahead and do that. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I will put my handle on the screen down here. Today I want to talk about something that I think is best exemplified by this photo shoot that Kim Kardashian and Kanye West did in 2017. They posted this photo series of themselves and their children posing in this very modest looking home. They are all very dressed down, wearing sweatpants. It looks like they're trying very hard to look poor, honestly, to capture this very blue collar, middle America, lower middle class kind of aesthetic. It's honestly just so weird. For context, we all know that Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are super rich. I decided to look up their net worth just out of curiosity, and they have an estimated combined net worth of a little over 2 billion. So they are not just rich, they are like so filthy rich, rolling in more money than most of us could ever hope to earn in 3 lifetimes. And I think this was maybe an attempt at making them more relatable, at humanizing them a little bit. But I actually just think it had the opposite effect. It came across as very try-hard, very out of touch. And it obviously drew a lot of attention because we're used to seeing Kim and Kanye and all of the Kardashian Jenners do the exact opposite. They typically post these very flashy photos of their $500,000 cars and all their expensive jewelry and their luxury handbags, just kind of showing off their wealth. To be fair, these photos were posted several months after Kim Kardashian was robbed in Paris, and she has said that she now believes she was making herself a target by flaunting her wealth so much, and that she has made a conscious decision to not do that. But nevertheless, these photos prompted a lot of criticism, a lot of people saying, please stop cosplaying poverty when you're literal billionaires. This is gross. And I have to agree, it is gross. But this weird trend of kind of cosplaying poverty is not just done by celebrities and the ultra wealthy. It's also a thing among the middle and upper middle class. For example, we all know the trope of the broke college student, and somehow it's become kind of a trendy thing or like a badge of honor among college students to complain about how broke you are, even if you're not. I definitely knew people in college whose parents were financing their entire education and paying their rent, and they did not have to work, and yet they would love to complain about how poor they were, even though it was like, you're clearly not. But this was something that basically everyone I knew in college did, even though most of the kids I went to college with were upper middle class. I'm guilty of this too, by the way. I don't want to just point fingers at everyone else. I did have to take out loans to pay for college and work part-time while I was in school to pay for groceries and stuff. But I now realize that college me saying I'm so broke because I couldn't afford to go out to eat or go shopping that week is kind of tone deaf and very different than someone who is broke in the sense that they can't afford groceries that week. But yeah, for some reason, we all wore this faux poverty as like a weird badge of honor almost. The starving artist trope, I think, is very similar. It's this very romanticized idea of poverty that a lot of young people see as desirable. A lot of middle or upper middle class 20-somethings living in major cities like New York or LA or Chicago love to align themselves with this trope and sort of romanticize the struggle of living in an expensive city while chasing your dreams. But in reality, many of them have parents or families who pay their rent or otherwise support them financially. They can get clout for being a starving artist without facing the real danger or psychological stress of potentially losing your home or not being able to eat. And the real irony there is that a lot of these starving artists are contributing to gentrification and pushing out people in neighborhoods who were there first. And I want to be clear that I'm not on anyone who has a safety net or a family that's able to help them out. I honestly wish everyone could have that. I wish we had a better social safety net, but I also don't think that poverty and struggle should be romanticized because I think that can obscure the real issues at hand, such as gentrification, the homelessness crisis, the absolutely insane cost of living in most cities. There are also stores and My neighbor won't stop slamming things. Are you done? There are also stores and businesses that have co-opted the poverty aesthetic. Urban Outfitters might be the best example of this, and they have actually described their ideal aesthetic as, quote, upscale homeless. Whatever the fuck that means. That's so disrespectful. But I never really liked Urban Outfitters, not just for a lot of their really terrible business practices, but because all of their clothing looks like something you could find at a thrift store that they're selling for a 500% markup. Turns out that is intentional. They purposefully want to attract customers who are somewhat affluent, but who want to look like they're struggling. But they must also be willing and able to pay $120 for a jean jacket that they could find at Goodwill. This whole idea of gentrified poverty makes me think about the concept of like what's considered trendy or classy if you're rich, but trashy if you're poor. Honestly, so many things. Wearing sweatpants in public, having a lot of tattoos, thrift shopping, living in an RV or van, which actually brings me to the next thing I want to discuss. Another place where I think we see this in action is the van life trend that is really popular on social media right now, especially among 20-somethings. If you search hashtag van life on pretty much any social media platform, you will see a ton of posts of usually youngish, good-looking white couples who have bought an old RV or van and decked it out and fixed it up and basically turned it into a miniature mobile apartment. A lot of these are so nice and decked out that I would assume they actually end up costing more than just renting an apartment or condo. These people basically portray living in their RV or van as a deliberate choice they made, a way to kind of escape from modern life and go against the grain. And they often show a very idealized, romanticized picture of what it's like to live in a van. Because let's be real, this is essentially gentrified homelessness. And I don't think that individual people who choose to do this are necessarily doing anything wrong, but we should think about the fact that we see this as trendy and socially acceptable and even desirable when it is more affluent people living in their car or van by choice, but unhoused people who are living on the street or in their cars out of necessity are so looked down upon and treated so poorly. Homelessness has been stigmatized and criminalized to a point where unhoused people can't really just exist in peace without being harassed or attacked or having their property destroyed or being targeted by police officers for sweeps. Yet when more affluent people essentially become homeless by choice, they are not looked down upon, they are not targeted in the same way, and they just don't face those same struggles and that same persecution. And I do think that people essentially glamorizing homelessness can obscure some of the real struggles that unhoused people face and some of the real issues that contribute to it. So what is the actual problem with upper middle class or wealthy people pretending to be poor or trying to look poor? Well, I think it boils down to the fact that people are picking and choosing the most desirable parts of a genuine struggle, and in the process obscuring the real struggles and challenges that people are facing. 11.8% of all Americans, that's 38 million people, are estimated to be living in poverty in the US. The official poverty line is considered to be an annual income of $25,700 for a family of 4. I don't think I need to tell you that that is virtually nothing, even in a low cost of living area. 1 in 6 children in the US are also living in poverty, and Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans are far more likely than white Americans to be impoverished. So there are a lot of people in this country who are genuinely struggling and who are living with food and housing insecurity and all of the psychological stressors that come with that. We don't have full data from 2020 yet, obviously, because it's not over, but we do know that the poverty rates have only increased due to the pandemic this year. But my point is, people like Kim and Kanye can take photos in a modest looking home all they want, but they're still going home to their multi-million-dollar mansion and home gym and personal chef and whatever else. They will never know the genuine genuine struggle and mental strain of being impoverished. So I can see how this photo shoot would be a huge slap in the face for people who do face that struggle. I want to insert a quote from Brooklyn Magazine. I'll link the full article in the comments below, but I think it sums up this entire thing really well. Those who can most afford to dress and live any way they want are consciously emulating those who lack that freedom, while those who lack real economic freedom find themselves stuck in a situation where they are both the models for and the unwilling participants of a new aesthetic. So that is it for me today. I don't have a whole lot more to say about this. As usual, I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this or found it interesting. Please don't forget to check out my other videos and subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.